Hey, peace everybody. Dr. Blaney here, and I'm here to introduce my podcast series on YouTube. It's called Aspergers versus Neurotypicals. And if you've ever taken one of those quizzes where you can decide if you're an Asperger's or a neurotypical, and it asks you all sorts of questions, well, I'm always right in the middle. And I've studied the graph, and it turns out I have a lot of the creative and think out of the box traits that Aspies have. And so I'm sort of right there in the middle. And that makes me able to see both sides, I believe. And I have all the sensory issues, probably more than anyone I've ever met, including other Aspies. And I can pick up all sorts of things that other people can't pick up, sensory-wise, because my volume levels are turned way, way up. So I would like to share with you some of the solutions that I find to live a great life, and also share with you my understanding of both neurotypes and how they operate, kind of decoding them, if you will, and explaining why, for example, why neurotypicals do certain things that maybe Asperger's can't understand, and then why Aspies people do things that neurotypicals can't understand. And I usually base it on the metaphor of the brain structure, but it's not really just that. It's also cultural and upbringing sort of things, and our phenotype, which is governed by what we eat. That is the epigenetic phenomenon of our phenotype. And also on the podcast, I might just discuss other things like interesting scientific findings, such as why LEDs are not healthy for your eyes and why they can make you lose your eyesight if you just follow the masses and buy a bunch of LED lights and stare at your computer screen all the time. You're damaging your eye. And believe me, I know. So I would like to share that with people so that they can not make the same mistake that I made, which was blindly use all the products that are sold to you, not realizing that they're actually not healthy. Light is a nutrient, but if you have the wrong balance, it's like taking too much of a certain vitamin that makes it toxic. You can have too much blue light and it might hurt your eye. So you need all the colors and you need a nice full spectrum. And then at the end of each of my videos, I'm going to try to start putting in plugs for my books that I'm writing, because I really do want to sell them, and I wrote them for you, my listeners, and I'm hoping that they'll help you. A lot of the same topics that I cover on this podcast are in this book, and it's disguised as a teen romance sci-fi fantasy novel, and it's called Guardians of the Blue Planet. And all of us, Aspies, Indigos, ADD, ADHD, and other neurodiverse types are guardians. And so that's what this book is about, and I'm going to add a little blip in this videotape of me talking about the plot. So check it out. It's on Amazon, it's on Kindle, and soon to be on Audible, maybe in a few months after I get my narrator to finish it. So peace everybody, and please subscribe and like if you like my videos, and take care. My newest book, Guardians of the Blue Planet, is a fictional book that just came out. I've improved the cover a little bit. This is a demo that only one got sold. But anyway, I changed this bottom part to a beautiful old parchment paper. But anyway, this book is a fictional story about a girl that might be true, and her name's Annie Blaine. And she notices that she's really different than all her high school peers, and she can't figure it out. So she was told she was an Asperger by the high school counselor, but who cares, like labels, schmabels, right? But this extraterrestrial being that has been watching her as she watches all guardians, her name is Meryl, and she's come to Earth to knock on the door and tell Annie that you signed up for this job. You're not regular human, you're a guardian. And your brain's different because I designed it differently to do. And you're not meant to be a normal human. You're meant to do this other special thing to save the planet from early death. And so Annie doesn't really want to know the truth because she's already got complicated life at teenage high school years. But Meryl keeps coming back, and then Annie starts to have these lucid dreams where she goes to these purgatory classes to review the classes she took before she was born, but she forgot them. Purgatory class where Meryl, this extraterrestrial, multidimensional being that's overseeing the guardians on Earth, she teaches these purgatory classes, and in the process of reading the book you get these lessons that are actually pretty good at helping neurodiverse people understand the weird neurotypicals walking around us and how we can make peace with them and
actually appreciate them. Like we love puppies, you know. Who wouldn't love a puppy? You'd appreciate a neurotypical just as much. And hopefully one day they'll even appreciate us neurodiverse people. And you understand why you are the way you are and why they are the way they are based on one metaphor, which is brain structure. But then there's another metaphor, which I use in the book, that's part of the storyline in that metaphor. It's sort of like phenomenologically and karmically, why are we the way we are, and past lives and, you know, enlightenment and all that. Okay. So, buy this. It's online on Amazon.com, and if for some reason it's not available, it just means that I'm updating the cover or something. Well, anyway, so that's what my podcasts are about, and